What's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to show you the correct way to plug in your pedals. So hello everybody and welcome to a new video and welcome to my channel where we talk about everything music from death metal to Queen and everything in between. So first of all, I want to address the elephant in the room. There's no correct way, that's why I quoted it, to actually work with audio, because of the fact that you might actually want to achieve a different effect and do so by plugging in the pedals in a different order, and that's all fine and dandy. That's the whole point of music and pedals and art, is for you to actually take a leap, be creative, and actually try out different stuff, which seems to have been lost in this day and age. Because honestly, and I get it, you can actually grab any free plugin and plug in your guitar straight into the interface, call out any other preset, and they're going to sound great. So yeah, it's simple, it's easy, just plug and play. But sadly, the trade-off is that we all fall into this cookie cutter kind of tone, and everybody winds up sounding pretty much the same. So the best way to break out of that is to actually start using analog gear again. So I am a big, huge advocate of having actual pedals and amplifiers and stuff like that, because it actually brings you out of that comfort zone and it gets you playing with the knobs and looking for better and newer tones. So yeah, this video is actually intended to show you how the pedal works and why they do what they do in this order, but always take all these videos with a grain of salt, because it never actually means that whatever it is that you're doing, it's wrong if it's working for you. But before we get to that, don't forget to subscribe to this channel like a man if you haven't yet. I'm trying to get to my first 20,000 subscribers on the channel, so it would be amazing if we can get there soon. Alright, so let's get started. The first and most important point I need to make is the fact that you need to understand the signal flow. And if you understand this, you'll be better able to get to whatever tone it is that you're looking for faster and easier, and understand why it is that it's reacting to whatever it is that you're doing the way it is, if that makes any sense. For this particular video, I'll actually be using the POGOLAB pedals that the awesome guys at POGOLAB were awesome enough to send me. This is their complete line, so I'm actually going to be using all 5 of their pedals, so that's really cool. Thank you guys at POGOLAB. And also, they were awesome enough to send me the Legato power supply so that I can plug them in and power them all at the same time simultaneously for the video. So yeah, big shout out to the guys at POGOLAB and Legato. Thank you very much. I leave the affiliate links on the description box below, so if you decide to get some of these, it'll actually kick back a little commission to the channel, and that'll really help us out big time. Also, let me know in the comment section whether or not you think they sound great, and of course, take into consideration the fact that they're all less than $30 each. That's a good value. Alright, so let's get to it. So, signal flow. What is the signal flow? The signal flow is essentially the way the signal flows from where the audio signal begins to where it ends. So essentially, what the audio signal is emitted and started to where it ends and it's played. Okay, so in a perfect world, what we're looking for is for the cleanest signal possible. This is where that term transparent comes from. The better the audio interface is, the more transparent it's going to sound, the more clear it's going to sound, and the more true to the actual guitar it's going to sound. The cheaper interfaces actually add coloring and saturation and noise to the signal, and we don't want that. So of course we want to get the best audio interface we can afford. Okay, so that's going to be the first time the guitar signal is going to be processed. So we go from the guitar through a cable to the interface where the audio signal gets processed, and then that's sent to the speakers, so it's processed again. So right now, without adding any pedals to this, it's already being processed twice and it's being changed twice. Again, the better the interface, the less is actually going to be affected. Okay, so to sum up, every pedal you put in between the guitar and the interface is going to change and is going to process that one signal that is coming out of the guitar. And the way the signal flows is that if you go from guitar to pedal A, that's already going to be processing the sound that came from the guitar. And when you go from pedal A to pedal B is going to be processing the signal that came from the processed signal of pedal A and the guitar. Then pedal C is going to process the signal that came from pedal B and pedal A and the guitar, and so on and so forth. So every little pedal you add before finishing off the signal chain is going to add a process to everything that came before it. Okay, so now following that concept is where we start to shape our sound. So a lot of people would argue that this pedal should be, further down the line, but again, there's no rights or wrongs here. So I'll explain to you why it is that I will put this guy first, and then you will tell me in the comment section whether or not you agree with my assessment. Okay, so first on my pedal chain, we are going to have the compressor pedal. The way this works is that it actually kind of balances your sound. So you lose a little bit of the dynamics. The loud notes you play and the soft notes you play kind of balance each other out. So if you look at the actual signal that's being recorded, you will see that it's not as dynamic. It doesn't go from very tiny to big anymore. Alright, so first pedal, compressor. Okay, so I don't want to overdo it, you know what a guitar sounds like, but this is the guitar without the pedal, straight into the interface. And this is with a compressor on. See how everything is pretty much evened out? This note and this note are almost as loud. And of course you can make this be more compressed or less compressed by tweaking knobs around. By the way, I apologize, they're actually building a house next door, so yeah, you're gonna hear a lot of hammering. Alright, so the next pedal in the chain is going to be the OverDrive pedal. Why the OverDrive? Here's the thing, we actually do have an OverDrive and a distortion pedal, so what I want to do is I want to overdrive the signal first. Now the difference between the OverDrive and the distortion are pretty blurry. Basically, in a nutshell, what is happening is that the signal we're sending into the interface, in this case, or an amplifier usually, is being overdriven. So it's being driven by the guitar and then overdriven by the pedal. There's a threshold there, commonly referred to as overhead, that, once you go over that, you start to overdrive the preamp. And the difference between these two is that this is going to soft clip, so it's going to clip, is going to overdrive that signal and is going to round off those edges, and the distortion is actually going to hard clip that same signal. They are both basically essentially distorting the signal. This is just going to be more of a rounded edge, and you're going to get a lot more bottom end out of this, and this is going to be more of a harsh hard clipping sound. You're going to get a lot more of that high end, a lot more of that top boost. But yeah, essentially they do the same. So I like to round it off first, and then if I need to, I can activate this after this, essentially stacking them up, and I can have them both working together simultaneously. Okay, so first I'm going to go into the overdrive and then into the distortion, and let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, so here we go. It's going to be a little bit messy, but you get the idea. So, of course, we're going from the right of the pedal to the left, so that's the way the signal chain is flowing. We go from the guitar to the compressor. See, input is on the right, then we output from the compressor to the input on the overdrive pedal, and then we output to the interface here. So right now, of course, we have this, which is the guitar being compressed by the compression pedal. And now that compressed signal is going into the overdrive, and it sounds like this. See, that compression helps you out now that it's overdriven, because now you can actually pull up and hammer on a lot better. And it sounds a lot more even than if you didn't have the compression on. Okay, so next up we have the distortion pedal, and of course, as we said before, this is mainly just more overdrive. Okay, so for this guy we actually do get a volume, a gain, a treble, and a mid knob. So yeah, there's a lot of things we can control here. Again, I don't want to make this video longer than it needs to be, so we'll just rush through it. Okay, so it's actually kind of getting a little bit out of control here. Okay, so now what we have going on is we have the guitar going into the compressor. From the compressor we're going into the overdrive pedal. From the overdrive pedal we're going into the distortion pedal, and then from the distortion pedal we're going into the interface and essentially recording. So we're going to stack them up. I'm going to try out the distortion by itself first, and then I'm going to stack up the overdrive with the distortion so you guys can hear the difference. Okay, so here we have the guitar by itself with the compressor on, distortion pedal on. Actually sounds really good for $30, not even gonna lie. Now, something that is really cool when you stack up the distortion and the overdrive is that the overdrive itself can actually work as a compressor as well. So you can actually raise the volume or raise the level on the overdrive pedal and kick that on and leave it on and have it work as a compressor pedal. So that's what we're gonna try out now. So I'm gonna bring the level all the way up, the gain all the way down, kind of like a TS9. I do want to play a little bit with the tone. I'm gonna kick them both on. And of course we get a little bit of light noise, and this is what it sounds like. See, that's awesome. It sounds great. It sounds full, ballsy. I like the combo. I like to stack them up big time. In fact, if I were to get only 2 pedals, I would definitely just go with the overdrive and the distortion, because you can use the overdrive as a compressor pedal just by doing this. The only difference though is that if you want to use it with a clean guitar, then you would need a compressor pedal. If you want to do the David Gilmour thing, or if you want to do like, you know, early 80s, very clean, very glam sounding, you know, power ballads, you need a compressor pedal, because the overdrive pedal is going to add a little bit of gain to your signal, so you might distort a little bit, and you might want to just keep it super clean. It also works great for like funk and reggae and stuff like that, because you want to have it even and you want to have it loud, but you also want to have it clean. Okay, so next in line now we have the chorus pedal. And why do I want the chorus after the distortion? Matter of preference. You can definitely place this guy before the overdrive pedal and it'll sound great. But I like it after the fact. I like for the chorus pedal to actually modify the distorted signal, not the clean signal, and then get it distorted. But of course, you can definitely do that and it'll sound great if you know how to use it. Okay, so the way the chorus works is that it actually multiplies your signal. So basically, it duplicates your signal, you get 2 of your guitar, and it just shifts and moves the tuning on one of them. It raises the pitch and lowers the pitch on the second signal, on your wet signal. On this particular pedal, you only get 2 knobs, one for rate and one for depth. So you can't really play around with the mix of wet and dry. Alright, so now to sum it up, what's happening is that I have the guitar going into the compressor pedal, that compressor pedal is feeding into the overdrive pedal, from the overdrive pedal we're feeding into the distortion pedal, and that whole signal chain is feeding into the chorus pedal, and then back into the interface. So now when we activate the chorus pedal, it sounds like this. There we go, chorus. Awesome, right? Now we add the compressor to that. Perfect. Now let's just add the overdrive. So we have the overdrive going into the chorus. Okay, so now it sounds like this. Alright, so finally, last and certainly not least, we get to the delay pedal, one of my favorite pedals ever, and one that goes definitely at the end of the signal chain. Because here's the deal, you can definitely use this before and it'll give you a completely different sound. But what we want, or what I want anyway, is I want that distorted signal to be repeated. The way the delay works, it actually grabs your signal and it repeats the signal before feeding it off to the next pedal, or in this case, the interface itself. So if we have a distorted signal, then it'll, repeat that distorted signal, that same sound you've just heard. It'll keep on repeating that. But now if you've got the delay going in before the distortion, then what's going to happen is that the distortion is actually going to distort and clip the signals coming out of the delay pedal. So an analog delay like this is actually going to start breaking up after the second delay. You're gonna hear it. It's going to start just, it's going to sound different. So that in turn is going to be distorted, and the sum of all the delayed notes is going to just blend into one thing, and that is going to get distorted and it's going to sound really annoying. It's not going to be a clear distortion. And you know what? Let me just do both. I'm gonna put it in before the distortion and after the distortion so you guys can hear the difference and tell me which one you guys prefer. Okay, so here we go. Please excuse the mess. What's happening now is we're going from the guitar to the compressor pedal, from the compressor pedal to the delay pedal, from the delay pedal to the overdrive pedal, which is down underneath it, from the overdrive pedal to the distortion, from the distortion to the chorus, and from that straight into the interface. Okay, so this is the guitar itself. Delay engaged. sort of a very exaggerated, very eerie delay, so you guys can really tell the difference on what's going to happen. Okay, so as you can tell, it's still going on, but it's breaking up. Listen carefully and closely to that first, second, and third delay. Can you hear that? It starts to break up. Alright, so now let's get to the distortion and let's hear what the fuzz is all about. Okay, let's check this out. They all blended into each other. See, it's a mess. Now let's try it the right way and let's put it all the way down at the end of the signal chain. Okay, so last recap. We have the guitar going into the compressor pedal. From the compressor pedal, we're feeding into the overdrive pedal. From the overdrive pedal, we're feeding into the distortion pedal. From the distortion pedal, we're actually feeding into the chorus. And from the chorus, we're going into the last pedal, which is the delay pedal. Okay, so now let's try the distortion, which sounds like this. I gotta say, for $30, they sound damn good. It does not cease to surprise me that you can get, pedals like these. They're actually made out of metal. They're not even plastic casing for less than $30 on Amazon. Crazy. All right, stack them up. My bros, that is a ridiculous amount of bang for your money. Anyway, that is the correct way to actually plug in the pedals, at least if you want to play some metal like I do. Anyway guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please drop me a like if you did, drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know if this was useful at all. I'll leave affiliate links to all of these pedals in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel like a man if you haven't yet. And big shout out to the guys at Legato and POGOLAB for sending me these pedals. They are pretty awesome, especially considering the price. I'll see you guys next time. Pat out, metal on, dudes.